Yeah, my advice to the Trump administration and to Republicans. The Trump administration's numbers were best when we were literally taking a strap to the federal government. Hatcheting off USAID, we were like force firing tens of thousands of people out of federal agents. Trump's numbers were through the roof.
Yeah.
They're not bad now. He's not doing bad. But I think that if he aggressively goes after crime, if he aggressively addresses the failings of these federal institutions that let things get this bad, then that might be enough to make up for the fact that the Republicans just are not playing ball legislatively. But you had John Thune come out just this week. Sounds like he's going to use the nuclear option in order to force through the back. Okay, you're shaking your head.
Yeah, because Mark, you remember, and I'm not blaming you for this, I'm blaming him for this. Over the summer, just a month ago, Mark, he had the option. Donald Trump went on Twitter and asked him publicly, just leave a recess in the summer and we will do recess appointments. Thune did everything he can and then some to not have the recess appointments and went further for unanimous consent to not have this. Now, all of a sudden, Thune wants to do this. They're pulling the wool over the eyes of all of us, Mark, and it's up to you and I to tell the people that.
Yeah, I've heard so much about that. I don't know what's true. And I would love to have seen recess appointments because I just want to see Republicans break a sweat.
Why didn't he do it?
And they didn't. They sent a delegate to Israel instead. So now, yeah, right. So now I think this is my guess from what I've heard, piecing things together, is that Thune was told by Democrats there was probably some deal where it's like, after recess, let us get recess. After recess, we'll give you these appointments. And now Chuck Schumer is, I guess, went back on his word or whatever. For whatever reason, those things aren't happening. And now John Thune's like, now I do think it's like, there is a period of time, I think, where it's like, okay, appropriate for them to try to stick to the rules. But we all know Democrats who are stoking political violence are going to use the nuclear option for everything the second they take control of the Senate on January 21st or 20th, 2027, right? Or whatever day. So my advice would be to preempt that. If you're going to potentially go nuclear, just do the whole thing and let's get some new legislation in. Like maybe pass a law about stoking violence on the mainstream media. I don't know. I think a lot of people would be supportive of that. Maybe a law where it's like you hold blue cities accountable for crime by pulling federal funding from them. I think that would pass through both sides of the Congress with flying colors, wouldn't it right now? It'd be super popular.
Until it came time to go to a federal judge, Mark, and the federal judge says, yeah, you can't do this. Making a deal with the Democrats, John Thune should have known this, and John Thune's been in the Senate for a very long time, is like making a deal with the devil, Mark. Now, they're worried about the backlash of the nuclear option, but he was worried about the backlash of the recess appointments, but not about it makes zero sense, which makes you wonder whose side is John Thune really on. Or you look at Chuck Grassley for the blue slip policy. Now, for everyone who doesn't know about the blue slip policy, it's a total nonsensical policy where two senators from your state, so we'll use Alina Habba as the one I usually use, Mark, from New Jersey, two Marxist Dem senators, Tim and Booker, they have to return these blue slips to say, okay, this U.S. attorney is good, we're good with her. They don't return it, that person can never be confirmed. Well, of course they're not going to confirm her because she was a Donald Trump appointee. She's a Donald Trump attorney. She stood by the president's side through all his legal fights. Yet Chuck Grassley allows this to happen.
Well, I think I know why that is. And everybody says Chuck Grassley's awesome. He's so great. He's a staunch conservative. Maybe, right? Maybe not. He's been there a long time, though. And I think I know why they don't want to get rid of the blue slip thing, even though Trump is calling for it and says it's stupid. Don't you think that that's probably really valuable to the special interests that back you? Don't you think like pharma being able to blue slip somebody like Ed Martin or whatever, don't you think that they want to keep that because it's one of the most valuable tools they have for the people that pay for their campaigns and probably fund other stuff that we don't know about, bricks of gold showing up in refrigerators or whatever. So I hate to say it, but the Republicans and Democrats, I think, are probably equally corrupt. The only difference is the Democrats are better at it.
Yep. They are 100% equally corrupt. And people get mad at me that I go after Republicans, but I don't care. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat, Mark. I'm America first. I'm MAGA. And you got to call it out for what it is. You can't protect people on one side when they want to do crime and then, call it out on the other side when it's on. You're hypocritical if you decide to do that. The Republicans are absolutely worse than the Democrats. They're nowhere near as smart. They get outplayed every single time. I mean, you just pointed out one instance, John Thune getting played like a fiddle by Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer's been there for 100 years. I have Roger Stone on every week, and Roger told me a story this week that Chuck Schumer had a side girlfriend, Mark, and that when they broke up, he asked for the mattress back that he had bought her. I thought it was one of the funniest stories I've ever heard, asking someone for a used mattress back. But he gets played by Chuck Schumer. How dumb do you have to be to get played by this guy? And, you know, you look back, and everything, Mark, is behind closed doors. John Thune's appointment, whatever you want to call it, I call it an appointment, done behind closed doors. We don't know who voted for who. I would have liked to see Rick Scott there. I think a lot of people would have liked to see Rick Scott there or somebody more conservative than Thune. I mean, Thune is cut from the same cloth as Mitch McConnell, will age there just like Mitch McConnell did. And we will see nothing get done. Backroom deal, Mark, after backroom deal, as you just mentioned.
A lot of this stuff I think is open and public. I wish I had time to really go after it, because if you ask Grok or you ask an AI to tell you, okay, how much pharmaceutical backing did this person get? It'll say a lot. 70% of the people in the Senate got money from the pharmaceutical industry. And then people will say, no, you're wrong. That's all private contributions. That's just people that work there, you know? There's nothing wrong with that. But then you'll go and look, and I found an article that said in February of 2022. So if you think back, that's before the midterms, right? And it's when Mitch McConnell was still the head of the Senate. John Thune was Senate Majority Whip. All of a sudden in February, 1 week after another, the CEOs of 3 different pharmaceutical companies, Pfizer, Gilead, and Eli Lilly, plus 3 different lobbying organizations, all donated maximum personal contributions to John Thune. Why would they do that? Why would they do that? Why would the CEO of Pfizer donate to John Thune and then all the other ones donate? And then I think part of it is, well, you know, if you want to get up the chain of command, if you want a promotion, if you want to be one of the top people, the best people at the top of a multi-billion-dollar pharmaceutical company, you probably donate to the same people that your boss does. And so I think that there's all these things like that. And everybody, it's a nod and a wink. They're all laughing at the taxpayers. They think that Trump probably, oh, isn't that cute? He cares about the little people. Sure, he's useful to us. We'll make common cause for now. Yeah. We're sure as hell not going to change anything. Like, we're not going to, no, like, perish the thought that the establishment changes even the slightest minutia. They are afraid of even a 2-word change in the rules. You can, with palpable fear. They don't understand how it upsets the horse cart, how it changes the calculus of their grift that has deep foundations. It's been laid for decades. They have so many ways to steal we probably don't even know about.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.